This is question 4 from the extra practice review for Unit 3. If a 40-foot tree casts a 50-foot shadow, how tall is a tree that casts an 80-foot shadow? Sorry, it said shower. Okay. All right. So if we're going to draw this out, I have a 40-foot tree. I'm going to make this a tree here. And it casts a 50-foot shadow. Okay, so I'm getting a triangle, a right triangle here, okay? So 50 foot and 40, right? Now, we have another tree here that's bigger. It's 80 foot, so it's pretty much double the size. And it wants to know, oh, sorry, that's not an 80-foot tree, but it says the shadow it casts is 80. So I need to fix this up. So this should be 80 here, and we don't know how tall this is. So this is x. So again, if we're going to use ratios, I'm going to use the sides that are the shadows, and I'm going to mark those as yellow, and then the trees are going to be pink, okay? So I'm going to set up a ratio. So this is the smaller tree, right? And this is the larger tree. Okay, so I'm going to do small over large. Okay, so the shadow is 50 foot over large, which is 80, and then small, the tree is 40, and we don't know how tall the tree is for the large one. So now I'm going to cross multiply. So I get 50 times x equals 80 times 40. So 50x equals, now take 80 times 40. And when you do that, I get 3,200. Now my last step is to get x by itself, so I'm going to divide off the 50. So I get 3,200 divided by 50. And when I do that, I get 64. So the tree is 64 foot tall. Okay, so that was number 4. All right, number 5. Determine if the triangles are similar. Show your work on your worksheet. Okay, so again, I'm going to say this is triangle JKL, so I'm doing the letters in order. Okay, and triangle GHI. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to color code. So the first 2 letters are JK. The first 2 letters of this are GH. So those are going to be yellow. The next 2 letters are KL. And the next 2 letters are HI. And then J goes back to L is going to be green. And G going to I is going to be green. Okay, so now that they're color coordinated, I'm going to do JK over GH. And I'm going to see what that is. So JK is 3 over GH, which is 7. Now I'm going to try KL over HI. So KL is 5 over HI, which is 10. That reduces down to 1/2. And then last but not least, we have J going to L, which is green, over I going to G, which is green. So the IG is 12 and the JL is 6. So that reduces down to 1/2. So I'm just going to check the JK again. Yeah, so these 2 are equal. However, this does not equal 1/2. So since that does not equal 1/2, then the triangles are not similar. Okay. All right, so I already did this work up here. So the smallest side, they asked us for, that's yellow. So yellow is the smallest, and that's 3/7. The medium-sized one would be the KL over HI, which was 1/2. And then the large sides are also going to be 1/2. Okay, so yellow, and then pink, and then green. Okay, so that's the answers to those. All right, again, the triangles are not similar. So let's look at number 6, calculate the missing value. This is a right triangle. And for a right triangle, we can use Pythagorean theorem. Pythagorean theorem is a squared plus b squared equals c squared, where a and b are the legs, and c is the hypotenuse. Okay, so a is given, b is 24, and c is the angle across, or is the side across from the right angle. So when I write this out, I do a squared plus 24 squared equals 25 squared. So a squared plus, now I have to find 24 squared. So you can either do 24 times 24, or if you have a squared key, you can use that. When I did that, I got 576. And now I have to square 25. So again, you can do 25 times 25, or 25 raised to the second power, and that's 625. So my next step is to subtract off the 576 from both sides. So 625 minus 576, and that equals 49. My last step is to use a square root, because I have to get rid of something squared. The opposite operations takes the square root of it. Remember, you have plus or minus on the other side. So a equals plus or minus square root of 49, which is 7. Now remember, I only use the positive value because I'm talking about the length of the side of a triangle. So a equals 7. Okay, so that is the answer for number 6. Let's go ahead and do 7. What is the altitude of the plane? Again, we have a right triangle. So the legs are the ones that compose that right angle, the sides. So I'm going to call this A. I'm going to call the 350 B. And the side across from the right angle is always C. So I get A squared plus B squared equals C squared. Again, I'm using Pythagorean theorem. So I don't know what A is. I do know what B is. That is 350, and I'm going to square that value. And I do know what C is, which is 370 squared. Okay, so I have to figure this out. So again, 350 times 350, or you can use your squared key on your calculator. So I get A squared plus 122,500, so 122,500. And then I have to square 370. Let me do that really quick. When I do that, I get 136,900. Okay, so my next step is to remove the 122,500 from that side and move it over to the right-hand side. So I'm going to subtract 122,500 from both sides. The whole reason I'm doing this is I'm trying to get A squared by itself. So if I take 136,900, or 136,900 minus 122,500, when I do that, I get 14,400. Now I have to get rid of A squared. To get A by itself, I'm going to have to take the square root. Again, when you use the square root property, you have plus or minus on the other side. So now I'm going to take the square root of that value. And when I do that, I get 120. So A equals plus or minus. Because we're talking about the length or the altitude, it has to be positive. So 120 meters would be the answer. Okay, thanks for watching questions 4 through 7.